The old man across the street, Mr. Henderson, started his mornings with a meticulous routine. First, he'd water his prize-winning roses, each bloom a vibrant explosion of color against the dull gray of his house. Then, he'd sit on his porch swing, sipping tea from a delicate porcelain cup, watching the world wake up. I knew this because I watched him every single day. It wasn't a malicious watch. Not at first. Just an observation. A quiet ritual that began shortly after I moved into the small apartment with the window that perfectly framed his porch. His life seemed so ordered, so calm, so full. A stark contrast to the buzzing static inside my own head, the relentless hum of thoughts that gnawed at me. My own mornings were a blur of restless sleep and the taste of anxiety. I'd wake, my stomach churning with a peculiar emptiness that no amount of food could fill. It wasn't hunger for sustenance, but something else. A quiet, consuming hunger for, what? I didn't know. Peace? Control? A feeling of simply being without the relentless chatter. One Tuesday, Mr. Henderson didn't come out to water his roses. The porcelain cup remained on its hook by the door. The porch swing hung still. I waited and waited. The silence from his side of the street was louder than any noise. A new kind of emptiness settled in my chest, a curious echo of the one in my gut. The next day, still nothing. The roses, usually Saperchi, seemed to droop slightly, as if missing his touch. A subtle shift in the air, a crack in the routine, and the quiet hunger inside me stirred a faint, almost imperceptible tremor. By Thursday, the whispers started. Neighbors gathered, their voices hushed, their eyes darting towards his house. A police car arrived, then an ambulance. They went in, stayed for a long time, then left. The ambulance silent, no sirens. The neighbors continued to whisper. Heart attack, someone said. Found him peacefully in his bed. That night, for the first time in months, the incessant static in my head quieted. The peculiar emptiness in my stomach didn't feel quite so consuming. There was a different kind of quiet now, a stillness that had nothing to do with sleep or a bomb. It was the quiet of an absence, a void. The days that followed were strange. The roses wilted further. A for sale sign appeared on his lawn, stark white against the faded green. And I found myself watching the empty porch, the still swing, the silent roses. The quiet hunger had found a peculiar kind of satisfaction. Not joy, not peace, but a cessation of the frantic buzzing. An odd, unsettling calm. I knew, deep down, that this was a terrible, twisted thing. To feel relief, a perverse sense of equilibrium, from someone else's ending. To find a strange solace in a void. But the quiet hunger, once a formless dread, now had a distinct, unsettling flavor. And I knew, with a chilling certainty, that it was a hunger I would have to learn to live with.